to catch the ball in the air. He got it! Oh! Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
Get ready to step inside the ride of a lifetime.
College basketball drama, excitement. Oh! Awesome, baby, with a go to the line. What a way to start off college hoops, baby.
The Owens Corning 2002 preseason NIT ready to go. Hervé Lamazana and Rutgers getting ready to take on Columbia. Lamazana blocked 10 shots in an exhibition game. And speaking of inside forces, how about David West? Maybe the player of the year nationally. Number 11, Xavier against St. Peter's. And then down on Tobacco Road, Raymond Felton, the standout freshman, trying to rejuvenate North Carolina as they take on Penn State, and that is just a taste of what we have ahead in the next couple of nights in rounds 1 and 2 in the preseason NIT. Also get a look at Boise State, number 7, Florida. Florida's getting ready to take on Louisiana Tech with some injuries that they're having to deal with. The other half of the bracket, Kansas, number 2 in the polls. Many believe them to be the best team in all the land. They will take on Holy Cross. You look and see that we've got some scintillating action coming your way. 5 games tonight, and at any given moment, we will take you to the most compelling action at that moment. Reese Davis, Digger Phelps here, and as you look at that bracket, Digger, what jumps out at you?
The toughest trip to New York's got to be out at Stanford, because if Stanford can beat Boston University, who has everybody back from last year's NCAA tournament team, then they'll probably play Xavier, and David West and company can get it done. But from the other side of it, I look at Kansas. This is a team that wants to get back to the Final Four, so they will be in New York and probably win it. But Florida will challenge because of Brett Nelson being out. They still have a chance to get things going. Billy Donovan likes that. But the guy who has to get to New York is Matt Doherty with his young North Carolina team. They've got to win 2 games. They've got to get to New York. He wants his positive program moving forward, not backwards.
And the exhibition game lost to the Nike All-Stars. North Carolina needing to get off to a good start. We'll see the Tar Heels in just a little bit. We're just about ready to tip off basketball. First round from the preseason NIT. 3 games about to tip in the Owens Corning preseason NIT. 3 games going on in this early window. And don't worry, all of you in your home areas, you're going to get to see your home team at tip-off all the way through the finish. But we're going to start the entire nation right now with Columbia and Rutgers out there with Dave Sims and Fran Fraschilla. Guys?
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to the rack. We're at the Owens Corning preseason NIT first-round action tonight. It's the Ivy League against the Big East. The Columbia Lions come down the Jersey Turnpike to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Gary Waters a year ago promised to make the rack one of the toughest places in America to play basketball in. That was achieved. He beat 4 ranked teams as well, and he made the Big East tournament. This is a unique building, to say the least. It rocks even now, and it's not even totally full. And we have a unique broadcast location here, everybody. Dave Simpson, Fran Fraschilla. And you can see a lot of defenses up here, right, Fran?
Well, they're going to pressure, Rutgers is going to pressure Columbia. We've got a great bird's eye view. Armand Hill's team has got to spread the floor, take care of the basketball, Dave.
It's going to be real interesting. Armand Hill, of course, a great player at Princeton University. And right now, let's take a look at our Owens Corning starting lineups. For the Columbia Lions, a guy you want to watch is number 52, Chris Wiedemann, co-captain, the all-time block shot leader at Columbia. And who's the star to watch for the Rutgers Ball Club?
Well, Jerome Coleman can really shoot the basketball. We're playing with the experimental three-point rule, and that will not be a factor for him tonight.
Jerome Coleman led the Big East Conference a year ago, and 3 points, field goals made, just ahead of Gary Buchanan of Villanova. Let's look at Hervé Lamazana in a big game, a career game against Georgetown in this building. And we're underway. Rutgers will be on the attack first. Referees tonight, Bernard Clinton of Seabrook, Maryland, John Hughes of Floral Park, New York, and Brian O'Connell from Middletown, New Jersey. Here's Kareem White right up top. He lost 50 pounds since we last saw him. Here's Coleman stroking from outside. And Kareem Wright, the newfound quickness.
That's going to be a big factor tonight is the rebounding by Rutgers.
Rutgers, a very exciting team last year in the Big East Conference as Shields fires an air ball. They do not shoot the ball. They do it by volume. They will put up a lot of attempts. Last year, just under 60 a ball game. They don't shoot it well, but they defend like crazy.
Columbia early on, Dave, will try to get some backdoor layups.
And an offensive foul, says John Hughes. So look at Armand Hill, 8 years in the NBA. Fine guard, played for Hubie Brown's Atlanta Hawks part of his time in the NBA. Foul is on Marco McCautry, the other co-captain for the Lions.
Columbia's in man-to-man, Dave. They'll mix up some matchup zone with the man-to-man.
A lot of folks will be familiar with the offense that Columbia runs. It's given that Armand Hill, one of the greats at Princeton, runs that Pete Carroll offense. And there's a rebound taken out by McCautry.
See, and early on, I think Rutgers has got to establish an inside game. They're guard-oriented, but they should be able to get the ball inside.
There's McCautry up top. Gets it to Boswell. Wiedemann has it knocked away from it for a second. Grant Clemens picks it up. Columbia has it stolen. Here's Coleman the other way. Coleman got it up and in.
Well, that's a great move by Coleman. He's an outstanding defender. The pressure defense was solid that time.
Well, Rutgers' season ended last year losing to an Ivy League team. James Jones's Yale Eli lost the first round of the NIT. Coaching staff at Rutgers said, hey, we may have played them a little bit too cheaply, which was obviously a mistake. Jonesy had a great year last year at Yale.
See, this is the kind of pressure that will bother them. I really was impressed with the guard play and defensive ability of the two guards.
Shot clock under 10 and a traveling violation. Third turnover by Columbia. Wiedemann turns it over in the post. Rutgers with an early lead here. 3 turnovers already for Columbia. And Rutgers with a veteran club and a very physical club, and that time it worked against them. Kareem Wright picks up the foul.
One of the things that officials talked about in the preseason was to emphasize rough offensive post play, and there's a good example of Kareem Wright a little bit over exuberant.
It was Gary Waters. What a year he had last year in his debut here at Rutgers. 18-13, 8-8 in the Big East Conference, 15-2 in this building. Tito Hill gets it across. Here's McCautry. Backdoor, they cut that one off. Clemens, they shut him down. The Lions last year in the Ivy League 4-10, 11-17 overall. Wiedemann had it set back by Lamazana. Here comes Coleman. 4-on-3. Coleman hoists from there. No, sir. And an easy rebound goes to Shields.
And Dave, he can get that shot all night. I'd like to see them get the ball inside.
And I think Gary Waters has that same thought, Fran. He called timeout almost as soon as they got control of that loose ball. Just underway here at Rutgers. Almost 3 minutes in. First round action here in the Owens Corning NIT. And coming up at 9:15 Eastern Time, the Boston University Terriers take on the Stanford Cardinal, or the Eastern Illinois Panthers against the Boise State Bronx. We've got regional coverage. And don't forget, how about Mike Montgomery, the Stanford coach, just 7 wins away from the 500 mark.
This is going to be an interesting year for them. They have lost a lot of key players in the last 2 years to the NBA.
More Owens Corning preseason NIT coming up later on tonight.
I guarantee you, Gary Waters talked about they're 0 for 4 from 3, and they have the size advantage against Columbia. They got to go inside early.
Rutgers last year was 12th in shooting in the 14-team Big East. Kareem Wright rebound and put it back in.
If they can get some scoring out of Kareem Wright with the loss and graduation of Rashard Kent, that will be huge for this team all season long.
Kareem Wright averaged just under 7 minutes per ball game, 2 points and 1 rebound last season. Pretty good pressure defense.
I love their 3 guards, the way they pressure the ball.
There's McCautry up top for Columbia. Gives it off to Tito Hill. Tito's sophomore out of Woodland Hills, California. Shot clock, I tell you what, they're taking every possession inside 10. We're inside 10 now. It's Clemens has got it. Boswell fired from there. Front rim got the friendly roll. 6'3" sophomore out of Jasper, Georgia, Jeremiah Boswell.
You got to remember, Dave, you're talking about a Columbia team that only returns 13 points. And they've got to get some scoring from other players besides Wiederman.
They lost 7 seniors from last season's ball club. Here's Sherrod. Kareem Wright. And Kareem Wright showing us the game big guy. Before.
Spent a week at Pete Newell's summer camp, and that might be paying dividends.
Tell you what, he shot that with confidence.
Yes, he did.
Along with Justin Piasecki, over in Honolulu with the legendary Hall of Famer Pete Newell. He's turned so many big people's games around, it's amazing. Either turned it around or enhanced. Baseline drive by McCutchery won't go. Loose ball, Weideman kept it going. And Kareem Wright knocks it out of bounds. I checked that. That was knocked out of bounds by Grant Clemens. Got a timeout, 15-24. Rutgers with a 6-2 lead. And Kareem Wright showing some things he learned at Pete Newell's big man camp. Quick shot along the post as the Rutgers Scarlet Knights have a 4-point. Early lead for the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, 6-2 lead. And Gary Waters, longtime assistant coach at Ferris State. He was at Eastern Michigan, Kent State. Now he's at Rutgers in his second year, and he talked to us earlier about his system.
What it is it's a consistency, and what we try to do is, and we tell our players, it's called a secret, how hard you play. But it resonates through the defensive end. Our guys play extremely hard on the defensive end, and then on the offensive end, they control the tempo of what they want, and that's what we're going to get to eventually here. And if we get everyone doing that at one time, it becomes awesome.
No question about it. There were times last year in Big East play here in this building that we thought the roof was going to come off, because those were nights when the system really worked and the kids bought into it.
Well, and they're not the best backcourt in the league, but I'll tell you, Coleman and Sherrod are two of the toughest kids in the league as Columbia goes back to the man.
Here's Wright up top. Lamazana. Harsh off the glass. Kareem Wright kept it alive, and then he stepped on the line when he had partial possession there, so it's going to be... Check that, it was Columbia that stepped on the line. It was Boswell.
I like Kareem Wright's effort on the glass. I'd like to see them get the ball inside. That'll establish some things and open up the perimeter game.
Get it inside to Lamazana and got the short jumper. Everybody Lamazana from Abingdon in the Ivory Coast. He put on a show here against Georgetown last January. 19.7 blocks, 7 rebounds in 30 minutes.
He's the X factor for them, especially with Richard going to the NFL, which we'll talk about later.
And a foul off the ball on the inbounds. I like that point of emphasis and all the physical stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, you know, the game's got, I think it's going to be called tighter in the preseason. The key for the officials is to call it tighter in January and February come conference play.
Sherrod picked up the foul, his first. In the last few years, we've seen a lot of points of emphasis detailed in the first month or two, and you get in the conference play, and it's back to the old ways.
It expires.
There's a jump shot from the corner by Clemens. That won't go. And in a hurry, here comes Rutgers. Sherrod to Coleman with a step. To the basket. Put it up. There's contact all over, a blocking foul. Called against Columbia.
I really like that. You know, at times last year, Jerome Coleman will shoot the three, but that time he did a really nice job of aggressively taking it to the basket. High school teammates from Paul Robeson High School, Sherrod to Coleman, and you got to get to the foul line. You got to penetrate the basketball, whether you throw it inside or your guards are driving it. That'll open up some things later on the perimeter.
Grant Clemens picked up the foul, his first. 2 team fouls for both Columbia and Rutgers. Coleman at the line, where he shot 71% last year. Honorable mention All Big East last season and preseason, second team for this season. Gets a couple to go, 10-2 Rutgers lead. Tenacious defense by Rutgers, friend.
Well, Columbia today worked on 5 full-court press offenses. There's one of them. And unlike Princeton, they'll try to attack the press and try to get an easy basket or two.
They go inside to Weideman. Boy, that had interception written all over it. Shields has got it, lays it up and in. Ricky Shields out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Timeout, Columbia.
That was a nice job of double teaming the post, and Wiedemann couldn't see on the pass out. Ricky Shields shot the passing lane. Wiedemann's their only scorer, Dave, so you see the double team. Ricky Shields anticipates, shoots the passing lane, gets an easy basket. One of the things we used to teach our postmen was to catch and look opposite and not to the top of the key, because if you throw it to the top of the key and it's deflected, it's a layup.
Indefensible, too. There's no way you're going to get anybody back.
And that's important for Ricky Shields. You know, he finished last season in a shooting slump. He can shoot the ball from three, but it's important for him to be able to get those slashing baskets.
Gary calls him his tempo guy. And tomorrow at 9 Eastern on ESPN2, Kevin Frazier, Sean Elliott, Tim Legler going to take you on a 2-hour ride. NBA Fast Break Tuesday. They're going to ride you around the league with live updates, stats, and highlights. 8 games on the NBA slate tomorrow night, and they got some good ones, too. The Mavericks are unbeaten. They're going to take on the Lakers, and Hubie Brown's going to be looking for his first win with Memphis.
Hey, and Shaquille O'Neal is already the MVP of the NBA because he hasn't played yet. And the Lakers are 3-6. You can come back now, Shaquille.
How about these games tomorrow night? Miami struggling. Memphis, we talked about Hubie Brown. Philly taking on New Orleans. AI, Allen Iverson against Baron Davis. That'll be a good one.
That could be the East Final, and notwithstanding the New Jersey Nets.
But Yao Ming last night, 9 for 9. 12-2 lead here for Rutgers. 6 minutes and change into the first half. Shields takes it in. Contact. They let him play. Got it back. Scores!
Well, they've got to continue to establish the ability to drive the ball. They're gonna. That's their strength right now. They don't need to worry about pulling up and shooting deep shots yet.
Rutgers has won 11 out of 12, including 6 straight against Columbia. Although all-time, Rutgers has not fared well against Ivy League teams. But that's going way back in the more recent days. They have done well. There's good hustle by Shields. That's the system. That's the attitude Gary Waters has brought. Here's McCoy slashing to the hoop. Too strong. Exani, no. Tip. Exani got the rebound. Exani draws a foul. Sean Exani was a guy off the bench last year. One of the bruisers up front. And he's done a real good job coming off the bench.
And you think that things changed after that timeout? You think Gary Waters had a little talking to him? I think it's really important that the Gary Waters system is playing hard. And here's a great example of it on the offensive glass.
Fouls on Maurice Murphy, his first. Here's Lamazana. Lamazana bodied out of bounds by Wiedemann. Boy, Hervé really aggressive on the offense, trying to get that step, and he got it.
Well, he's a guy that gets in love sometimes with the three-point shot for a guy his size, but he's got to play 15 feet and in. That was a good example of it.
Wiedemann picked up the foul. That'll be his first.
A little bit of matchup zone here, Dave.
Sherrod in the paint, throws it up and scores. Sherrod shot just 37% a year ago. Look at this lead, 16-2.
Well, it's all keyed off of the pressure defense. You look at Mike Sherrod, he is up on Murphy.
But the Columbia players, just intense defense they're seeing put on them tonight. Murphy's out of Seattle, Washington. Get it over to Colin Davis, who's in the game, number 25. McCutcheon in trouble.
That's not great. You don't want to leave the ball in the corner.
Numbers the other way. Stolen back. And then Exani in the middle. Kept it alive. It's still alive. And it's off Columbia's Maurice Murphy. What a scramble that was.
It says great effort by both teams. And, you know, we got to keep in mind that Columbia's got a young and experienced team. This ultimately is going to be a good experience for them. But Rutgers' intensity level is too much right now at this stage of the game.
Sherrod and Shields get a blow.
As I said earlier, you know, Mike Sherrod is not the best point guard in the league. He doesn't shoot a great percentage, but he's just a junkyard dog.
This is Calvin Wooten, and he is highly regarded out of Detroit, out of their public school league. 26.5 points a game, 49% shooting. He is a do-it-all. He's a finalist for Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan. And he's from the same high school that produced Gary Waters. From the corner, that one won't go for Coleman. And Wiedemann comes up with it for Columbia.
It's really important for Columbia to come up with some answers here.
Boswell has the only Columbia score tonight. Runner in the lane. Ooh, a little harsh off the glass that time by Chris Owens.
He stepped out.
Sure did. Colin Davis trying to make something happen along the baseline. We've got a timeout here at the rack in Piscataway. Armand Hill's club struggling mightily, down by 14. Welcome back, everybody. We're in Piscataway, New Jersey. First round action. Owens Corning preseason NIT. Columbia and Rutgers, the Ivy League against the Big East. And it's Rutgers with a resounding early lead as we check out the ESPN2 Game Track and Fran. The numbers pretty much say it all right there.
Well, Columbia is trying to spread their offense out, but the ball pressure by Rutgers is just absolutely outstanding to this point, and it's caused 8 turnovers.
Calvin Wooten, Lamazana. You've got Jason McCoy, Sean Exani, and Jerome Coleman on the floor right now for Rutgers. Exani up top. And a foul off the ball as Wooten cut loose for the first time tonight. And a 3-second violation.
That's one you don't mind, especially when you're Gary Waters trying to establish some sort of an inside game. It's nice to see Hervé posting up down there.
So you're Columbia, you have a patient offense. You've got guys who are not the same size as some of these Big East players, but what do you do to try to attack? Well, so much for that answer.
Yeah. Well, the first thing you do is take care of the basketball. But that's easier said than done because these guards, this Gary Waters system is really kicking in terms of the pressure on the basketball.
Gary Waters made a name for himself at Kent State. Terrific assistant coach we mentioned at Ferris State and at Eastern Michigan. There's Wiedemann looking for room.
There's a double team.
They don't let him have it. He turned it over. Good pressure by Exani and Lamazana, the 10th turnover for the Lions.
Well, Wiedemann knows he's got to score some points. He's the only veteran back. But the problem is he's being double teamed, so he's got to pick his poison. Does he kick it back out to somebody who hasn't had a chance to score? As he tried to take it himself? That time he turns it over.
That is really making them pay, right? 10-0. My goodness. Coleman lost it. Kareem Wright. Wow, when Kareem gets on the floor, look out. Exani on the floor as well. And the arrow favors Columbia.
I'll tell you what, we've seen more guys on the floor here than in the Rutgers Temple football game Saturday. And that's a credit to both teams.
10:23 to go, first half.
I can't wait as we get going talk about Gary Waters because the people in New Jersey are going to love this guy. I've known him for a long time, and you can just tell, Dave, the players have bought in. But this is a key year 2, because they believe in him, and now it's important for them not to get complacent. Keep this thing going.
Wooten putting some good pressure on Maurice Murphy. David Basija, he's in the game right now. First 7-footer at Columbia since Dave Newmark, class of '68. How do you fans remember those clubs? Oh, look out. McCoy bought the up fake.
Rutgers foul, number 21, Jason McCoy.
Well, right now, what you got is you got Rutgers playing very aggressive defensively. Nice job by Kareem Wright coming over, and then McCoy.
Basija misses that one. And here comes Wooten of Rutgers. A little bit too much of a lead pass.
Well, and that's a bad angle for the freshman. You're not going to be able to make that pass from that far out on the court. All he needed to do was dribble it down a little bit more to the corner, and Kareem Wright had great position.
It's only mattered for about 4 feet, right?
That's exactly right.
Dave Sims and Fran Fraschilla with you. Fran making his ESPN debut. Way to go, buddy!
Hey, I'm with the senior point guard. I'm a freshman out here tonight.
Under 10 to play, first half. It's been all Rutgers since the opening tip. Boswell has the only points for Columbia so far. And here's Boswell again, and he drills a 3. Jeremiah Boswell.
Nice execution right there. He came off a nice down screen.
Good help defense by Columbia as Coleman got to the baseline, and Gary Waters going to put in a fresh 5.
One thing Jerome Coleman talked about was coming into this year the ability to drive the ball more and get to the foul line and not just rely on the deep range that he has. And except for the first couple possessions of the game, he's done a really good job of taking it to the basket.
Coleman had 28 points last Thursday against the One World All-Stars group. One of your former players, Jason Hoover.
That's right.
On that club.
Well, Jerome Coleman's a great story. You know, he was Gary Waters' first recruit here. Gary Waters was in his office when he got to Rutgers, and he asked Mike Sherrod. He showed him a list. He said, "Do you know any of these players?" And Mike Sherrod said, "I played high school ball with Jerome Coleman." And he chose Rutgers over some very good programs in the Midwest, Dayton and DePaul, and that's become a very solid Big East backcourt.
No doubt about it. 20-5 as Coleman will get a rest. We got Shields, Lamazana, Wiggins, Sherrod, and Adrian Hill making his first appearance, number 4 for Rutgers. Columbia's got Maurice Murphy and Jeremiah Boswell. Chris Owens. This guy is in the game. He's in the post, along with Colin Davis.
Tell you what, you continue to see the great ball pressure.
Baseline drives a beauty by Colin Davis out of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yep. Hervé Lamazana was standing a little too straight up. Nice recognition and baseline drive.
20-7 Rutgers.
And they're in a little bit of a matchup zone now. They'll switch on and off. And what they'll try to do is confuse Rutgers with their different looks. Sometimes it'll be 2-3. Sometimes it'll be 1-2-2. And you see Rutgers standing around.
And already Columbia's probably achieving an objective of slowing the game down. But the shot is made over the top by Ricky Shields.
I really like this guy. If he doesn't lose his confidence like he did at the end of last year, you know, he was one of the best freshmen in the Big East last year. Second leading scorer at Rutgers.
11.5 points per ball game. Shot just 37%. Here's Piscataway. Back out top to Murphy. Lost his footing. Regained. Player control foul. Lamazana stood in, took the charge. Second foul on Murphy.
Well, you don't get on the floor or take a charge for this guy, Gary Waters. You're not going to play very long, so it's really good to see a guy like Hervé Lamazana give up his body.
17 fouls on the Lions. Here's Wiggin outside. Wiggin pretty valuable coming off the bench a year ago. Wide open for the 3 is Shields. Couldn't get it. Taken down by Colin Davis.
And they don't have a pure shooter right now with Sherrod, Wiggin, and Shields out there. They got to attack with dribble penetration or get the ball inside.
Rutgers shoots the ball better this year and put it with their intensity. They can be really something else. And a good look there by Maurice Murphy, a junior guard out of Seattle.
Comes out of a very good high school program, Bishop O'Day.
Just a junior, 21 points, 14 assists total last year in 18 games. A lot of these players are getting their first opportunity. As Wiggin, a little long and strong with that shot, but a foul that's against Columbia.
Well, the zone, at least for now, has settled Columbia down. They're not giving up the dribble penetration in the transition, and that's helped them.
First foul on Jeremiah Boswell, his first 8th team foul, 1-1 in effect for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Shields really good rotation on his shot. Shot 80% last year. A couple of three-point lines there, Fred. Tell us about it.
Well, this is the experimental rules, Dave. There's 3 experimental rules in the exempt tournaments. The international line, which is 9 inches back. The foul lane, which is 2 feet on each side. The NBA foul lane. And then the blocks are slightly up the lane. I like it because it spreads the floor a little bit. And I think the further we move the three-point line out, the better it is for the game.
Here, here. Columbia's made its last 3 from the field. They'll be in double figures on their next score. Look at that pressure defense. They take it away, but this guy gets it and then throws it away. Turnover, Columbia. Got a timeout here at the rack. The 12th turnover for Armand Hill's Columbia Lions. We're back to the rack in a moment.
ESPN2's presentation of the Owens Corning NIT preseason tournament is presented by Owens Corning, Innovations for Living, and in part by Canon, with thousands of products and one simple idea, giving people know-how. Canon know-how.
Big Dave Sims and Fred Frischella with you. 6:50 here in the first half, and it's Rutgers 23-9 over Columbia. Good shooting, intense defense by Rutgers, and Columbia's turned it over a bunch.
Well, they've only got 9 field goals because of the turnovers.
And when they've turned it over, Rutgers has converted. Foul off the ball. Bernard Clinton with the call. Looks like they got Kareem Wright.
And that's
his second.
That's right. That's the second foul he's gotten for posting up. And I'll tell you whose fault that is. The guard's got to get him the ball. You know, you got a guy like that who's posting up hard. Get him the ball. Give him a little taste of it. Keep him involved.
See if Columbia can mount a little bit of a charge here. We're under 6.5 to go. Jeremiah Boswell's got a couple of field goals for the Lions. They get him in the corner. Boswell gets another look. Quick delivery. A little short this time, and Shields comes up with the rebound.
Well, they ran their offense without turning it over and getting a good look. That's certainly a start.
Zanny got free and scores. He beat the double team.
Well, that was a great look by Ricky Shields, and that's what Kareem Wright's trying to do. Kareem Wright sitting on the bench with 2 fouls saying, get me the ball. But a great position and seal by Sean Exani. You see he's got great position inside, finishes the play. Biscaya was caught on the top side, and more importantly, a great look by Ricky Shields.
Second foul on David Biscaya, sophomore center out of Plainview, New York. Here's Sean Exani. 6'8" junior forward, Red Bank, New Jersey, high school teammate with Maryland's Taj Holden.
He's made himself into a physical player. He's put some weight on.
There's a loose ball put up, and no, but the tip is good. They're going to wipe it off. Good pressure by Rutgers. Got another turnover. Looked like they had an easy deuce.
Well, great job by Mike Sherrod anticipating.
5:54 to go. It's Rutgers with a big lead here, friend.
Great job by Sherrod, anticipates, and a nice job of taking it to the goal.
5:51 to go, first half. Leading scorers for Rutgers, Shields with 7, 6 points for Coleman. And for Columbia, Boswell has 5. And right now, let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, the fabulous freshman from North Carolina came out with great intensity against Penn State. Raymond Felton, the guard, knifing down the boulevard for the lay-in, and then Felton will go back to work, hitting Scott May's kid, Sean. North Carolina's up by 22.
Reese, thank you very much. And the winner of our game will meet the winner of that tilt. Penn State, North Carolina. We're getting old. Scott May's kid.
Well, 3 outstanding freshmen for Carolina. It's Scotty May's kid, Raymond Felton, Rashard McCants. Hopefully they're guys that Matt Doherty can build around and improve on last year's abysmal season.
And how about Holy Cross taking on Kansas?
Again,
exactly right.
I gave them all they could handle in the NCAA tournament for 30 minutes.
Second year in a row, Ralph Willard's club really put up a good first-round performance. They had Kentucky on the ropes a couple of years ago. And a foul by Wiggin coming from behind. He was attacking Chris Owens.
Joel Wiggin right there reached down and fouled, and all he needed to do was tip up from behind. And I watched practice yesterday. Gary Waters was practicing tipping from behind. Joel a little bit overexcited there. But one thing you notice, Dave, we're 15 minutes in and the pressure has not backed off at all from the guard.
Right, not at all. Another stretch of the imagination. Murphy to Boswell. Murphy gets inside, trying to give it to Biscaya. Taken away by Wiggin. Numbers and in a hurry.
Nice job by Sherrod holding it up.
Pretty good recovery by Columbia. Wiggin, and you can see that one coming. As soon as he left his feet and didn't shoot it, he knew that was coming.
Well, we have the bird's eye view up here.
Joel Wiggin, his second foul.
And Joel Wiggins not an outside shooter, so if you're Columbia, you know he's going to put the ball on the floor, and they've played him totally for the drive.
Wiggin leaves the game. Coleman's back in for Rutgers.
Talked about earlier, Columbia with 5 different press offenses. They've used all 5 so far.
So far, it seems like a little bit of confidence has come back to Columbia.
Yeah, they've settled down. I think part of it is playing the zone a little bit.
Oh, there's There's an opportunity missed right there by Colin Davis.
Well, we talked earlier about the fact that they will attack the press. The problem is you got to be able to pass the ball and catch the ball to completion.
15th turnover by the Lions.
But you can see that the zone has taken them a little bit out of their rhythm.
Up top, ooh, tough one. Not a lot of touch on that one.
And that's the kind of shot that Armand Hill is going to definitely let him give up.
Get it up in the front court. It's Chris Owens. Here's Piscataway.
Remember, Dave, it's a team with 11 freshmen and sophomores out here.
Amazing. Tito Hill's got it. Under 4.5. Baseline jump by Owens. Ripped down by Shields, and a foul against Columbia.
Ricky Shields is a pretty good rebounder for a 6'4" guy.
Yeah, almost 4 a game last year.
That's right. I really like this kid. I talked to him earlier about his trip to the Ivory Coast,
right,
where Hervé Lamazana coincidentally is from. And he left. He went on a trip with Athletes in Action, Dave, and they were right before the Civil War that's broke out there. He said that he got sick because of the food. And I said, well, what did you eat? You know, and he said, Coach, I ate Snickers and pretzels. That's how I got through my week there. And I thought to myself, that sounds a lot like my 10-year-old's diet.
That's exactly right. Conditions a little bit different, though.
But what he told me was, he said he has a greater appreciation for his own circumstances after going over to the Ivory Coast.
Boswell and Piscataway take a seat. Murphy and Wademan are back in for Columbia. 27-9 Rutgers.
This is a diamond press, a 1-2-1-1 press. And you'll see Exani all over the basketball. He'll trap the first pass.
Where's the best place to attack that? Right in the middle, if you can get somebody in the middle?
Well, what you got to do is you got to bring some people up so that he's got options. If you throw it to the corner, you're going to get trapped. The ideal place is right smack in the middle of the floor.
Don't forget, coming up at 9:15 Eastern Time, more Owens Corning NIT first-round action. Boston University against Stanford, or Eastern Illinois against Boise State. We've got regional coverage for you. Eastern Illinois' Henry Domericant. He's averaged 26.4 points per ball game last season. You're going to see a lot of him tonight.
If you're looking for a sleeper first-round pick, it's Henry Domericant. Rick Samuel's Panthers, always a good club in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Good basketball out there.
Yep.
Generally, teams out of that conference, when you see them in March, do a little bit of damage in the NCAA tournament.
Murray State, Tennessee Tech.
Gary Waters used to be in the MAC. Kent State, saw him a couple of years ago when they played up at Boston, won a first-round match.
Indiana beat Mike Davis's club. The thing you love about Gary Waters, we touched on it earlier, 22 years as an assistant coach. And, you know, I call him steal one from Dickie V. He's a 3P guy. Perseverance and patience equals poise. And you know, Dave, when you talk to this guy, the guy has a plan. He doesn't get rattled. He's a father figure. The players love him. He gets up every morning and eats breakfast with them at 7:30. And you can't help but be impressed with him. And he's already started a recruiting pipeline in New York, New Jersey.
No question about it. Yeah, he's a Midwest guy out of Detroit, and said, you know, he's getting used to being here in New Jersey.
Yep.
He realizes it's more than what you see when you come out of Newark Airport.
Well, you know, when he got the job, people were worried about him hiring somebody from New Jersey. He didn't do that. He brought his whole staff with him, and he's gained instant credibility.
Here's Columbia on the attack. Murphy regains. The Lions looking a lot more confident. We noted that a few minutes ago. If they can get into double figures, I'm not saying they're going to necessarily make this a ball game, but they can at least close the gap a little bit.
Now, they're going to get better as the year goes on because of the inexperience of these guys right now.
Wiedemann gives to Murphy with 12 on the shot clock. Approaching 4 minutes to go. 7 on the shot clock. Turn it over. Coleman. Shields ahead of the pack. Gets control and draws the foul.
Now, that was a nice look by Jerome Coleman. And, you know, you got to like this Ricky Shields.
Fouls on Tito Hill.
It's a really tough place to drive on the baseline. You're no man's land there, and that causes the turnover. Then a good look by Coleman and a good attack by Ricky Shields. Hargrave Military Academy, they put out some good players in recent years.
And Columbia hasn't been to the line. And another distinction that Shields holds As the first freshman since Phil Sellers back in 72-73 to go back-to-back 20-point games.
Phil Sellers, recruited by our friend Dickie Vitale.
Take a timeout with Rutgers leading. Pretty healthy margin right now, 29-9. First round action at Owens Corning, preseason NIT. Final Four. That's when Rutgers was there in 1976. Went to the Final Four in Philadelphia. James Bailey, Phil Sellers. They were a big part of that club. And who recruited them? Well, one of our guys, Dickie V, boys and girls, was an assistant coach here at Rutgers.
That looks like his graduation picture there. He hasn't changed a bit, except for the glasses.
Boy, did he work Phil Sellers to get him. It's legendary, right? What
Absolutely.
He did.
Thomas Jefferson High School, which also produced Jimmy McMillan, one of Columbia's all-time greats.
Played with the Lakers and the Knicks, Jim McMillan. In fact, you know, Columbia, the last time the Lions beat Rutgers was the year after Rutgers was in the Final Four. Beat them down here at Rutgers at the old College Avenue gym. Beat them by 10, 85-75. And there's the jumper there by Coleman. Coleman's got 8. And on that team you had James Bailey was a returner. Eddie Jordan now an assistant coach with the New Jersey Nets. Here's Columbia. Oh, they turned it over on the travel. Colin Davis had a chance.
And they have had 3 or 4 opportunities in breaking the press to get easy opportunities to score. And Armand Hill knows. He's laughing because he's got to keep attacking the press, but it comes down to being able to catch and pass the ball without traveling.
Coming up on 3 minutes to go here in the first half. 31-9. Rutgers. Here's Lamazana. Back it off. Get it back outside to Coleman.
Nice patience by Rutgers here. They can get a good shot here just by taking care of the basketball.
They go inside to Exani. Shot clock at 8. We're under 3. Game clock. Lamazana will hoist from there. A little strong. And a rebound goes to Columbia. Good job by Tito Hill.
They keep the press on even on the miss. You don't see this very often.
Timeout call.
Another timeout.
And Murphy was trapped in front of his bench and had to call a timeout.
I tell you, that's good coaching right there, because what happened is, Dave, you got to like this because they actually pressed on a missed shot. You don't see that very often. It obviously caught Columbia by surprise. Good, smart basketball right there.
Coming up at halftime, ESPN 2 halftime report with Reese Davis and Digger Phelps. Some of the stories they're going to check in on the NIT update. Penn State, North Carolina, and St. Peter's against Xavier. We're going to see a lot of David West this year.
We sure will.
Player of the year candidate, and we're going to take some live looks at those games. Stay with us here at ESPN 2.
I hope David West makes me look good because he's my candidate for player of the year. Really going to enjoy watching him a couple times this year. Roman Sato, Thad Matta's club, a top 10 team.
Almost a turnover as McCoy stuck his hand in there, knocked it out of bounds. See if Columbia can get to double figures before we're out of here for the half. Murphy trapped. They get it over to Hill. Strong left hand. Back to Murphy. They're going to get it across. They just do. Along the baseline, he walked. Took the extra step, Colin Davis.
Well, and that has something to do with the presence of Lamazana in there.
19 turnovers for Columbia. 31-9 Rutgers. Jeremiah Boswell back in. And he replaces Chris Owens. And Calvin Wooten returns.
Good opportunity for Calvin Wooten in the first half to get going as a freshman. Absolutely. With this lead. He'll be a guy that comes off the bench for Gary Waters' team this year and provides some instant offense.
Curious to see what he can do three-point-wise because Rutgers has missed is 0 for 8 from three-point range. So we told you, notoriously bad three-point shooting club last year. 12th in 14-team Big East Conference. Last in free throw shooting as well. Lamazana goes twice.
And that's what you want him to be doing. You know, he can shoot the 3, but let's get the ball inside to him, and that's what he's got to do.
Hervey's got 4 points. This pressure is just relentless by Gary Waters' Rutgers ball club. 2:48 to go. It's been all Rutgers in a battle of the Big East against the Ivy League, 33-9. Rutgers 0 for 8 from three-point range, but I tell you what, they have converted just about every turnover that Columbia's had. Columbia's had 19 turnovers, and Fred Fischel, it's all about the pressure defense coming from Gary Waters' ball club.
We talked about it early in the game. We talked about the man-to-man pressure. Gary Waters did not show much of the zone full-court pressure in practice. They thought they could save it for North Carolina, but I think it's been so effective in the first half. They've continued to use it, and it's a good opportunity for them. You know, without the presence of Rashard Kent, as we talked about earlier, they are going to have to be, Dave, more of an up-tempo team. They only averaged 67 points a game last year. So to get this kind of full-court pressure and get their guards involved in terms of the pressure and the steals, I think is going to pay dividends for them in the Big East, because unlike last year, they can't just pound it into the big guy.
Absolutely not. Last in the Big East in scoring, but I tell you what, they were second in scoring defense to Pittsburgh. They were fourth in field goal defense. They're going to D up. They were second to Pittsburgh in three-point defense. So while they have difficulty scoring, and they'll get it in bunches because of the athleticism and the tenacity,
that's right.
You know, they have to live on the defensive end and then just by volume get those shots up. That's how they've been doing it.
Their best players are the perimeter players right now, and so that's a good sign for them. They get this game going up and down.
Inside a minute and a half here, 33-9. Rutgers has been dominating Columbia, winners of 11 of the last 12, including 6 straight. There's a jumper by Tito Hill. Good for 3. So finally, Columbia gets into double figures with about 72 seconds to go.
They took care of the ball.
Quick hoist by Coleman, run down by Wiedemann.
I think Jerome Coleman wants to get going a little bit from 3, but he's been more effective going to the hole tonight.
Wiedemann up top. Grant Clemens. Baseline,
nice
partially blocked, but a foul. A foul on the play as Hill went to the basket. And they get Coleman for the foul.
And Columbia's run their offense very well the last 2 times. That was good help defense on the baseline.
It's going to be the first trip to the line tonight with the Columbia Lions. Lions lost 7 seniors from last year's club. 1 returning starter. They went 4-10 last year, 11-17 overall. We've got more Owens Corning NIT first-round action coming your way later on tonight, 9:15 Eastern Time. The Terriers at Boston University take on the Stanford Cardinal, or Eastern Illinois, the Panthers against the Boise State Broncs. Make sure you stay with us here on ESPN2. 33-14, final minute of play here, first half.
Columbia went to a little bit of three-quarter court pressure and then back to the zone. You know, Stanford's got Julius Barnes, who's a heck of a player, who I think will step out of Casey Jacobson's shadow this year.
Mike Montgomery has had some really good ball clubs the last 4 or 5 years. National impact clubs. Coleman, cross court, Wooten, a little strong on this one, kept alive, right. Got it, and then taken back by Adrian Hill. Bodies all over the place. Adrian Hill, 6'8", 225, a freshman from McKinley High School in Canton, Ohio.
I watched him yesterday in practice, Dave. He's a terrific athlete. That school's produced the likes of Eric Snow, Gary Grant, Percy Snow from the Kansas City Chiefs. And that school is located right next to the Football Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir. Final 10 seconds here, the first half. Rack's been jumping pretty much as Coleman. Deep shot, and he hit it. Wow.
That's a way to end the first half.
Boswell sends an air ball back the other way. Too much Rutgers pressure on Columbia. They converted on turnovers, and they made it a long first half. And tell you what, that's beyond the NBA line. A very comfortable stroke for Jerome Coleman, who put up 286 three-pointers last year. Dave Simpson, Fran Fraschilla. We'll see you in a few minutes. Right now, we send it off to Reese Davis.
You know, I never coached Digger, but generally, if you have 19 turnovers and only 12 shots unofficially in the first half, you're going to have some problems. And Columbia did have some problems with Rutgers in the first half. When Digger and I come back, we'll have some scores and highlights as we bounce around opening night of the Owens Corning Preseason NIT.
I cannot believe this present. It's so cool. It's the best gift ever. That's basically the reaction I want from my whole family.
We've got lots of gifts that'll do that.
Let's start with the kids.
Bring your list. With CDs, games, DVDs, and more, we've got the gifts electronics lovers will love. And tons for under $50. Circuit City, we're with you.
Wow, great gift.
Exactly.
I'll have your steak and cheese with some of that Southwest sauce.
Subway Club with hot peppers, because we like it hot.
At Subway, every sandwich is fresh made, so you get exactly what you want every time.
Just give me what they're having.
Subway, eat fresh!
Sean Green will go down as the greatest Jewish-American baseball player in history.
The Miami Hurricanes would beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
Best mascot? Brutus.
ESPN2's presentation of the Owens Corning NIT preseason tournament is brought to you by Circuit City. We know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
We're in the Owens Corning preseason NIT first round action. Ivy League against the Big East. It's Columbia taking on Rutgers. And from minute one, it has been all Scarlet Knights, 36-14 here at halftime at the Rack here in Piscataway, New Jersey. Glad to be with you, everybody. Dave Sims, Fran Fraschilla making his ESPN debut tonight, and it's been all Rutgers because of that pressure defense. They've been so intense.
No doubt about it, Dave. Ball pressure, shooting passing lanes, trapping the post. It's been very, very effective, and it's what Gary Waters wanted to get done tonight. Early in the game, he saw great ball pressure. Jerome Coleman shoots the passing lane. Here, the block by Lamazana. Double team in the post. Ricky Shields shoots through the passing lane, gets an easy scoring opportunity. And then again, good ball pressure by the freshman Wooten, and that leads to another Scarlet Knight 2.
This is a team that puts relentless pressure on him, particularly here at home where they were 15-2 last season. And that certainly lived up to one of the expectations that Gary Waters had. Now, we're going to take a look at the stats, but one key thing, what would you do if you're Columbia, if you're Armand Hill for the second half?
Well, the big thing is they got to take care of the basketball. They've got to be able to run their offense and try to ignore the ball pressure, but 19 turnovers is just too much. And again, it's a very inexperienced team. Columbia is here with 4 new starters, and it's been a rough first half for them, but a learning experience for the guys from the Ivy League.
Learning experience indeed. The Ivy League this year. Look for Pennsylvania one more time. What else is new? Princeton should be back, right?
That's right. The Yale Bulldogs, who beat Rutgers in here.
That's right. Last season in the postseason NIT. And then James Jones's club came in here, and Gary Waters said that, well, maybe our guys didn't take that game quite as seriously as they should have. Now, Armand Hill, the head coach of the Columbia Lions. He's in his 8th year. What a fabulous player. Big point scorer. Ivy League Player of the Year in 75-76.
Pete
nice
Carrill.
career and played for Pete Carrill.
That's right. And you know, and I know that the last loss that he suffered as a college player at the hands of the undefeated regular season 1976 Rutgers Scarlet Knights. 54-53 in the regional tournament game in the NCAA tournament.
Final 4 year for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Seems like yesterday. You saw Hollis Copeland on 3rd Avenue a few months ago.
Well, speaking of 3rd Avenue, Armand Hill is the kind of guy, Dave, you know that you're more likely to see him coming out of Lincoln Center.
Yes, indeed.
Or the Metropolitan Museum of Art at Madison Square Garden. Very erudite guy, class personified. I didn't know that he was the curator at the Lawrenceville Museum down in Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Not too far from here.
I had to look up what curator meant.
No, you didn't. Get out of here.
I thought it was a doctor. Curator? Isn't that what a doctor does?
Here we go. Second 20 minutes from the Rack. And Columbia attacking the basket with Tito Hill, and boy, he takes a hard fall.
No, that was a nice job by Tito Hill taking it to back. I thought he got fouled on that. Columbia has not shown the ability to get to the line tonight.
been a struggle indeed. Wiedemann has it knocked away, and it goes off of Rutgers. So the Lions will maintain. Sherrod knocked it out of bounds.
Let's see if Rutgers will keep up the intense pressure that they started the first 20 minutes of the game with.
Columbia just 2 for 2 at the free throw line, while Rutgers went 9 for 11. Steal, another one. They left it for Shields, and oh, how about that as it turned over?
I think Ricky
major miscommunication.
I think he thought that was the end zone.
The last thing he expected to see come back.
Well, Mike Sherrod set the tempo early with the ball pressure, and I don't anticipate that they'll let up at all.
7th turnover by Rutgers. Columbia lines with Wiedemann, Hill, Boswell, and here is Grant Clements. Columbia trailing here 36-14. Jeremiah Boswell just got called for an offensive foul as Kareem Wright stood his ground in the post.
So that was an error of commission by Jeremiah Boswell, taking the ball hard to the basket.
And Columbia's at yet another disadvantage. They don't have any times out remaining. How about that reverse attempt? Sherrod couldn't convert it. And Wiedemann, the lone returning starter for Columbia, gets the rebound. Columbia 4-10 last year in the Ivy League, 11-17, and then they lost 7 seniors from that ball club. So Armand Hill's got to start all over.
Well, Craig Austin was the Ivy League Player of the Year his junior year and the 4th all-time leading scorer at Columbia, and he's a big loss for them.
Meanwhile, Rutgers had a fine first season under Gary Waters, 18-13. They went 8-8 in the Big East Conference, and Wiedemann gets fouled going to the basket.
Well, that was a nice look inside. It was a screening action inside. And Rutgers got confused, and Chris Wiedemann was all alone underneath.
Rutgers has used tremendous pressure against the Columbia Lions and turned them over constantly. 20 turnovers tonight by the Lions. 21-7 now.
Well, that's
and they've converted on probably 85-90% of those turnovers.
Especially when you can shoot those passing lanes on those cross-court passes that Columbia threw. That leads to very easy baskets.
And Columbia down big numbers here. You know, succumbing to all the pressure from Rutgers. Rutgers didn't shoot it well from three-point range, 1 for 12 in the first half. Rutgers not known for its shooting, but it's known for its pressing and athleticism. And this year, a little bit more depth. Scarlet Knights pick for 5th in the Big East Conference West Division. Gary Waters said that's about right. Here's Lamazana raising up, little runner in the lane. Can't get it. Rebound goes to Columbia. And that's Marco McClatry.
One thing Columbia has done, they've gone man-to-man, Dave, but they've started to pack it way in and give Rutgers the open shots.
It's been all Rutgers here. Early on here in the second half, 2 minutes in. Boswell hit the first basket, and they've had a lot of plays like that.
Yeah.
The hesitation dragged the foot, and they've had as many turnovers there as they have. .17:53 to go here in the second half. And Sherrod gets inside. Kareem Wright. Oh, there's a block by Wiedemann, the all-time block shot leader at Columbia. Led the Ivy League the last 2 years in that category.
Well, Kareem Wright was in foul trouble early after a pretty impressive start, and he wants to get it going pretty quickly in the second half.
Get it back to Coleman for a long three, and a rebound goes to Columbia's McClatry, one of the co-captains, along with Wiedemann.
See, this is really a good opportunity with a 21-point lead for Rutgers to really try to get the ball inside and establish Kareem Wright. They're going to need him all season long in the Big East.
See what Wright can do next time down. He showed us a couple of moves he learned at the Pete Mill Big Man Camp. Clemens in some trouble. Loses it. And Lamazana's got it 3-on-3. Inside, Coleman off the glass. Jerome Coleman, he's got 13 game-high score.
And it's nice when your four-man can handle the ball in the middle of the break and make that kind of play like Lamazana did.
If you're Armin Hill, what do you take out of this game as you point towards the Ivy League season?
Well, the biggest thing they've got to do is really, it's just a matter of passing and catching the basketball. There's not much more fancy terminology than that, really, Dave. They're trying to run their offense, but it's got to be crisper and too many easy, unforced turnovers.
Wiedemann gets it back outside. Here's Boswell. Start that Ivy League season for the Lions on January 18th at Cornell.
That was a nice back cut by McCrotty. When the ball goes inside to Wiedemann, everybody turns and looks, and Rutgers is going to double team a little bit. McCrotty just does a nice job of cutting to the basket. Here you see Ricky Shields turns his back. McCrotty gets into the lane and gets fouled. Nice pass by the big guy. And they can establish some things, because the thing I talked to Armand Hill about yesterday, Dave, we talked about the young team. He's got a lot of sophomores playing that, although they were on the team last year, didn't play very much. And he knew that this could be rough early in the year. But the only way to get experience is to play these guys in situations like this. They've got a good non-conference schedule. They'll keep getting better. But the Ivy League is going to be a pretty tricky competitive league this year.
Teams to look for there: Penn, Princeton, Yale up top. Patrick misses that one, and a foul on the play as Sherrod goes sprawling.
I like Glenn Miller's Brown Bruins, who finished over 500 as well. They're a team that nobody's really talking about in the Ivy League.
And Columbia opens up that Ivy League schedule. They'll open at Cornell, and then 4 straight home games. Cornell, Yale, Brown, Princeton, Penn. Actually, that's 5. Still a ways to go. 4 minutes in here, second half. Sherrod to Lamazana. That's a 2, back rimmed, and it goes to Clemens.
Well, see, I think Rutgers is a little bit complacent. They've got to be patient enough to get the ball inside. Those 3-point shots are there for a reason. Columbia is giving them those shots.
Absolutely, and why not? Yep. Given how poorly Rutgers shot, this is pretty much a returning cast. Wiedemann missed the chippy. Hit back by Clemens is good.
Well, nice hustle on the offensive glass, and you can see Columbia's coming to life a little bit.
Rutgers last in scoring in the Big East. Blocked by Wiedemann. Boy, he knows how to get up. He plays some angles. A shot blocker blocking a shot blocker. Rutgers last in scoring in the Big East. 12th in field goal shooting. 12th in three-point shooting. And last in free throw shooting. Timeout from the rack. 15:28 to go. And Rutgers with a healthy lead.
Cleans it up for him, and Xavier is rolling 52-30. West and Sato both with big nights.
Welcome back, everybody. Rutgers with a big lead, 38-17. It's been like that since early on here at the rack in Piscataway. Dave Sims and Fran Fraschilla with him. Rutgers shot it poorly from deep in the first half, 1 for 12. Wow, talk about getting a little action, huh?
That's a guy that did not shoot the ball very well from three-point range last year, 14%, but Mike Sherrod worked on that shot all summer.
Mike Sherrod, as athletic as they come here on this Rutgers ball club. This is the same type of defense that Rutgers showed in the first half. Scarlet Knights led 36-14 at the half. That despite shooting 1 for 12 from three-point range. Xanthi with the reach around it. Cheap foul. Coming up tonight, the Owens Corning NIT first round continues. 9:15. Some of you will see Boston University versus Stanford. Some will see Eastern Illinois versus Boise State. Our regional coverage as we keep you up to date on what's going on in this outstanding preseason tournament.
Boston U, one of the teams picked to win the America East. Billy Collins, one of their best players, transferred from Rutgers. That's right.
Inside to Wiedemann. Boy, they double him in a hurry.
Quickly.
That's on McCautry with baseline jumper. Won't go. They keep it alive. And it goes out of bounds. It'll be Rutgers ball. Take a look at the draw for the Owens Corning NIT. The other side of the bracket from where these folks are. BU Stanford. You saw that Xavier's leading St. Peter's. Eastern Illinois, Boise State. And Billy Donovan's club taking on Louisiana Tech.
Keith Richards got a nice club at Louisiana Tech. They'll be one of the favorites in the WAC.
Shields from way outside. That won't go. And a Long arm rebound by Tito Hill, the sophomore guard from Woodland Hills, California.
Well, the reason Rutgers can't get the ball inside, Dave, is they're just packing the ball in the defense inside the lane, forcing Rutgers to shoot outside shots.
Rutgers an abysmal 2 for 14 from three-point range. Wiedemann in the post against Exotic. Mance knocks one down.
Nice job of going inside out. Wiedemann looking for
Grant Clemens. 41-20. Coleman with Sherrod, Lamazana, Shields, and Exani for Rutgers right now. There's Coleman firing a three, and he hits. Coleman with 16 points. He's got 2 threes tonight.
He played a little peekaboo with Boswell right there. He was acting like he was going to cut to the basket. Came right back behind the screen. Got a great look. I still want to see Rutgers go inside.
Wiedemann, a little dive taken by Exani. Wiedemann scores, and for Wiedemann, his second field goal, he's got 3 points. His first field goal, beg your pardon, is 3 points.
And Dave, you know, I really like what Columbia has done here in the second half. They've taken care of the ball a little bit better. They're forcing Rutgers to shoot from outside. And while the score doesn't indicate it, they look more confident in what they're doing.
Sherrod in and out, rebound goes to Clemens. There's a window of opportunity, Fred. 12 minutes to go. Down 22. I mean, it's way larger than the usual window of opportunity, but given the way this game's going, you'd have to consider that.
You know, they've played pretty good defense, Columbia. The problem is, I'm not sure they can score 44 points in the next 12 minutes. Right. You got to give them credit for hanging in and playing good defense.
McCutcheon a little too strong. Put back ditto. And a breakout now for Rutgers. Sherrod. Wow.
That's a straight right there.
I'll show you some Brooklyn there.
Forget the jump shots, Michael. Take it to the basket.
Mike Sherrod out of Robeson High School in Brooklyn, New York.
You know, he spent all summer working with the shooting coach Dave Hopla, with many people in the East U's, but Mike Sherrod's game is attack the basket and get other people involved.
6'2", 180. McCutcheon inside. Oh, he got that one to go. Lamazana thought he had another block. Marco McCutcheon out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
And what Columbia's done here the first 9 minutes is they've basically played them even up. Yep.
Coleman.
That's a tough shot.
Follow through. Didn't even look at the basket. He was looking for a call.
Gary Waters is happy that his team is up 20 right now, 22, but he's not happy with the way they're playing.
Boy, they are settling, and a reach around by Coleman. In the offense, boy, they're running on about 7 or 8 seconds off the clock.
Well, here's why, Dave. It's fool's gold because Rutgers guys, perimeter guys particularly, think they're open.
Pick up on that point when we come back. 46-24 at the 10:48 mark, second half. Sherrod, that's H. You got to match it now.
Watch Columbia's 3 blue defenders in the lane. On a pick and roll now, Jerome Coleman comes off. He shoots a contested shot. Columbia's in great position for rebound. Believe me, Gary Waters not happy with this shot. That's a contested shot. There's nobody's ready to rebound for Rutgers. An easy opportunity for Columbia. What's happened, Dave, is Columbia's giving up the open shot, and Rutgers is taking it as fool's gold.
That can get you in some trouble. Matt Preston's in the game, number 31 for Columbia. Colin Davis is in. Maurice Murphy, Wiedemann at the post, along with Jeremiah Boswell and Colin Davis. Under 10.5 to play. They go inside with 14-12 now on the shot clock. Kick it back out to Boswell. Rutgers student section, they have picked Boswell as their sacrificial lamb. Tip is up and no good. They're going to wipe it off.
No, that was a
Colin
nice
Davis climbed the ladder.
Yeah, that's a nice effort by Colin Davis. Good aggressive play. Armand Hill's not unhappy with that.
So we check out that ESPN2 game track, the fool's goal you were talking about.
Well, if you're Columbia, this is how you want to play them. Now, the problem for Columbia is they're not scoring any points.
Right.
But defensively, they've got a solid game plan. And, Dave, keep in mind, they were the best defensive team in the country in terms of giving up points last year.
Rebound by Wiedemann. Last year, the Columbia Lions gave up just 57 points per ball game.
Now, their problem was they only scored 55. But,
exactly.
But it's not because they held the ball. They played good, solid defense, and Rutgers is not knocking down any shots.
Stolen. It's Coleman with the steal. Now reset. Joel Wegan gets it to Calvin Wooten, freshman from Detroit, Mackenzie High School.
And you see how far off Murphy plays Wooten. They're not going to play. You'll see again, they'll back off, give Wegan the shot. Coleman's the only guy they'll play tough.
And he got tripped going through the lane. Boswell got him. Third on Jeremiah Boswell out of Pickens High School, Jasper, Georgia.
And this was part of the strategy Columbia had coming in. They were going to play a packed-in man-to-man, a little bit of matchup zone, and defensively it's been relatively effective. They're just not taking care of the ball and scoring points.
Wooten in traffic. Oh man, he may have gotten away with one there.
I thought Columbia had good position right there. It's important that you establish a legal guarding position on the drive. And as Wooten gets into the lane, yeah, Preston's there. Preston's there. That's an offensive foul. Good job by Matt Preston. That frustrates you sometimes as a coach because you need every play to get back into it. And
every possession. You talk about gold, right?
That's right.
Gary Waters, real high on this young man. They have something in common. They went to the same high school. Mackenzie High School. Take another look at this play.
Well, as Wooten gets by his man, it's important for Preston to be established. Now he's established. I think he's established, and I think what Wooten tried to do is slide out of the way. But I thought that was an offensive foul.
Gary Waters high on Wooten, said he can play, shoot, dribble, just doesn't understand our pressure that we want to use right now, but he's learning quickly. Boswell tied up by Kareem Wright. Third foul on Kareem.
If you notice, Dave, the quick jumpers by Rutgers didn't allow them to get into their press. Now with the free throw situation, that allows them to set their press up and get the tempo going. You got to make baskets and make free throws to get that press going.
5 team fouls for Rutgers, 6 for Columbia. There's Preston. He's out of Wonton, New York. Maurice Murphy. Preston. A little strong on that one, and Kareem Wright gets the rebound. .8:33 to go. Tough shot. Exani with the rebound. He puts it home. Rutgers not doing a good job shooting from the outside. Not a great shooting team anyway. Well, and they haven't really done a good job establishing their big folks.
They haven't. That's a good job by Exani, however, of getting an easy basket off the offensive rebound.
Biggest lead enjoyed, and not by that man, Armand Hill. Saw his assistant coach, Walt Towns. Walt used to be an assistant coach here at Rutgers. There's Armand Hill, and Walt Towns right behind him. Walt wants to say hello to his sister, Trish Bailey, who just got out of the hospital.
Well, the thing about the pressure defense at home particularly is the crowd really gets them going. This is going to be a fun place to watch Rutgers play this year.
About 8,000 seats here in the rack. A little short. Coleman on the shot. Attendance 4,804 tonight. Steal and score. Jerome Coleman.
Well, he was 7th in the Big East in steals last year. There's a good example why. Again, Coleman and Sherrod, two of the best defenders in the backcourt in the Big East.
Calvin Wooten picks up the foul for Rutgers. 7:37 to go. 51-24. Rutgers on top of Columbia here in Piscataway. Welcome back to the rack, everybody. Dave Sims and Fran Frischella with you. The Owens Corning preseason NIT round 1 action. We've got Columbia out of the Ivy League trailing here to Rutgers out of the Big East. 51-24. And too much quickness and a whole bunch of pressure being used by Rutgers tonight, Fran.
Well, Jerome Coleman hangs around here like a vulture as Colin Davis gets the rebound. Jerome Coleman doesn't have to worry about anybody beating him in transition. Quick hands, easy basket.
Preston's got it on the sideline. First time we've seen a backdoor pass. We've seen the cuts, but the first time we've seen a pass.
Well, last year when Rutgers played Princeton, they only gave up 2 backdoor layups. They'll see Princeton later on in December, so this is a good test for them right now.
That was rejected soundly. Murphy got it back. That was sent back. Address unknown, and the freshman scores.
Now, Jason McCoy is one of those players that Gary Waters plays about 10 minutes a game. He really doesn't have a position. He's not a 3, not a 4, but he's a long athlete, and he showed it there.
6'9", 190, runs the floor real well and got that long wingspan. 6'9", almost plays like he's 7'2". Boswell, tough shot. Lamazana kept it alive. Shields gave it right back. Lamazana with another steal. Here's Wooten, 3-on-3. Lamazana controls in the corner.
Well,
and he bounced it off his leg. I can earn some pine time. Rutgers does a real good job here. Defense to offense, right?
Well, one of the things they've really done well tonight was get the ball out and transition off the steals and off the blocks. And that's really been primarily where they've scored because they have not shot the ball well from the perimeter.
Rutgers with 4 block shots this evening.
I think it's important now, the last 7 minutes, for Rutgers to continue to play the game at the intensity level they played with it so far.
Rutgers was second in the Big East Conference to Connecticut last year in block shots. Speaking of Connecticut, they had a nice win over the Globetrotters the other night.
Emeka Okafor.
Well, he's tough.
One of my all-Big East players.
Be curious to see who you like in a Big East. We'll check on that in a couple seconds here. 6:10 to go in the second half, 53-24.
What I'd like to see right now, Dave, is see if Rutgers can establish a little bit of an inside game. Get Kareem Wright some confidence. A guy that lost 50 pounds since last year.
Came in, I saw him at practice. I said, all right, it's just a matter of how much. He's lost a heck of a lot. How much, Gary? He said 50 pounds, eliminated the breads and the sweets, and it worked out like crazy with Sean Wendell, their strength and conditioning coach. Let's take a look at the Fran Fraschilla Big East forecast.
Well, it's a very balanced league. Pittsburgh obviously in the top 10, but there's 11 teams I think can win it. 3 great backcourts, but I wouldn't discount the backcourts of Rutgers and St. John's as well. And Elijah Ingram, I think, will be one of the impact players in the league. And don't forget Danny Miller at Notre Dame, a transfer from Maryland.
What an addition that's going to be. Mr. Thomas will have a lot of good people to pass the ball to. He and Danny Miller, Matt Carroll, Shields. Boy, he was insistent on getting through, and Tito Hill winds up turning his ankle.
Well, Ricky Shields got Rutgers off to a really quick start early in the game defensively, and they've really never looked back.
Jerome Coleman, the leading scorer in the game. He's got 18, 9 for Shields, 7 for Sherrod. And leading scorers for Columbia, Boswell with 5, Hill with 5. Well, and you've got Wiedemann with 3.
Tito Hill, one of those Columbia sophomores that has gotten a lot of experience being out here tonight. This can only help them as they get ready for the rest of their season.
How do you see the Ivy League shaping up?
Well, it's going to be Penn and Princeton, obviously. Yale, a surprise team last year. James Jones doing a great job. Look for Princeton with Spencer Glogger back from UCLA. I like Brown as well. And I think the amazing thing is the way that their RPI went from 28 to 14. They had the most non-conference win, Dave, last year as a conference in 30 years. And Brown will be pretty good. On Yekwe, probably a first-round pick.
He's terrific. I saw him as a freshman, and he's gotten better every year.
Well, and I'll tell you, the guy that people talk about being the glue to that team is Andrew Toole, who really complements Onyekwe and Archibong quite well. That is a potential top 25 team.
Fran Dunphy's Penn Quakers. 53-25 with 5:15 to go. Here in the second half is Maurice Murphy. Puts in a free throw. See how Wooten handles the pressure from Murphy.
Well, Wooten was primarily a 2-guard in high school. He's playing a little point here.
And McCoy turns it over with the steps. 10 turnovers for Rutgers.
Well, that happens a lot with big players who want to play on the perimeter. Shot fake is too quick, and they shuffle the feet.
You start popping antacids when you see guys like as a coach?
All the time.
Come on, give me that second bottle.
Jason McCoy's probably told Gary Waters he can be a 2-guard.
Oh, absolutely.
Coach, you're holding me back.
Hey, 7'1" guys want a stroke from outside.
Well, I always said as a coach, the 5 men want to be 4 men, the 4 men want to be 3 men, the 3 men want to be 2 men.
Yeah, right. Steal again. Wooten almost got it. Murphy gets it back. Jump shot, no. Keep it alive. Lamazana out. Geez, one of the Columbia players is hurt, McCautry. Playing 5-on-4, blocked by Wiedemann.
Well, he hasn't given up, but he's had some blocks in the second half.
Wiedemann's got 9 boards. Co-captain out of San Ramon Valley High School, Pleasanton, California, in the Bay Area.
You know who's from Pleasanton? John Madden, living in Pleasanton. Wiedemann would probably make the All-Madden team. He's a tough guy.
Hangs in there.
He sure does. He's the only veteran back for Columbia, so he's got to be a leader, architect major. Talked to him earlier today. We talked about California and being 3,000 miles from home.
It's amazing. You know, these Ivy League schools are national schools. Yeah. It's remarkable every time you look at their rosters. And this roster's got Seattle, Pleasanton, Ontario, Canada. Wooten. Wow! Sent back by Wiedemann!
I tell you got to like this guy. You know, they're down 27, and he just keeps playing, and you can tell why he's led the Ivy League in block shots.
Dotson Worthington reports in for the Lions.
4:04 to go, 53-26. Rutgers in command here. Here's Hill, and one of his few attempts at the basket tonight. Young man from McKinley High School. Second time he's been on the floor today. Chris Wiedemann, the co-captain for the Columbia Lions. What a night he's had. 3 blocks tonight. All-time block shot leader at Columbia. He's got 9 boards as well.
Well, the only returning starter on a team that lost 4 starters last year, and he's going to have to provide some leadership for Armand Hill's Columbia Lions. And some people think he might be the best center in the Ivy League. There aren't a lot of big players in that league, but he's held his own tonight.
.341 to go. 53-28 Rutgers lead. And Franny,
well, I'll tell you what. Wooten's been very active. He takes it to the basket, and Wiedemann never gives up on the play. And, you know, he blocked that shot almost at the top of the square. That's pretty good athleticism.
Missed free throw taken down by Harry Good. Good Baldwin High School on Long Island.
Good opportunity right now for Gary Waters to get some people experience.
Off the glass goes Jason McCoy out of Houston, Texas.
Well, if you're a coach, you're not really too excited about that because you don't want Jason McCoy thinking that he's got the green light to do that. I saw the whole bench give him the shrug.
You don't want to see one of those hoist big game, home game against Notre Dame in conference play, right?
Absolutely.
Dotson Worthington, air ball. Here comes Rutgers. Breakout, 4-on-2. Wooten pops, bang.
I'll tell you what, great job by Joel Wiggin. He saw he had Wooten on the right, and he wanted to get the freshman a good look, and just a great play by Joel Wiggin.
7 points for Calvin Wooten. First team All-State in Michigan. Out of Detroit's Mackenzie High School. Look out! Oh, my goodness gracious. What a hard fall by McCoy.
Well, McCoy was smelling the block. Dave got a little overexcited to block that shot and got himself up in the air.
Boy, he is seriously long, too, at 6'9", 190. He's going to block his share of shots this season. 2:31 to go. McCoy getting into the upper atmosphere here at the rack.
ESPN2's presentation of the Owens Corning NIT preseason tournament is presented by Owens Corning, Innovations for Living, and in part by Toshiba, the official sponsors of people who make copies. Toshiba, don't copy, lead.
Healthy lead here at the rack for the Scarlet Knights, 58-30. Rutgers has led from the opening tip. And a reminder, coming up tomorrow at 9 Eastern Time on ESPN2, NBA Fast Break Tuesday. Kevin Frazier, Sean Elliott, Tim Legler, they're going to take you through the 8-game NBA slate. And there are some beauties tomorrow night. Philly, New Orleans, which will feature Allen Iverson and Baron Davis.
3 and 6 Lakers.
9 Eastern. Yeah, that's going to be something.
Going to Dallas?
Just a matter of playing some defense down in Dallas. If they ever do that, look out. Certainly doing a lot of it now here in the first part of the season, but talk to me in May.
Well, Shaq should be back this week.
Yeah. The Sheriff will be back in town. Inside 2 minutes to play. 9 on the shot clock for the Columbia Lions. Chris Owens. Alan McQuarrie. And a foul will keep it right here. Looks like they got Adrian Hill.
Good opportunity right now for Armand Hill to get some more players. And Alan McQuarrie scored 76 points in a high school game. He gets his first shot up.
Justin Piasecki's in the game, number 23 for Rutgers. There's Armand Hill and Walt Towns, Bill Johnson.
I think it's important, Dave. You know, Gary Waters, I think, came in and stunned people with the success of the program in year one. 18 wins, the NIT in the postseason. But as I said earlier, it's really important that Rutgers players buy in and not feel like they're over the hump yet. This is a 3, 4, 5-year rebuilding process. They've got Shagari Aline, a 7'3" center from Rice High School, coming here.
Shot blocker.
Marquise Webb, a very good guard from Northern Jersey out of Patterson Catholic. People are really starting to take the Gary Waters system, but it's really important that they don't feel like they've got it made yet.
Wooten showing his scoring ability. He came all the way from Detroit.
No, that's nice
the
to
other
get
thing.
him going.
Right. I mean, he gets some Jersey guys, and Gary reaches back to his home area and gets some players.
That's right.
Really be something.
Well, Adrian Hill out of Canton, Ohio, right next to Kent, Ohio.
They get it to McQuarrie, up top to Worthington. Worthington up fake, had it taken away and puts it back in. He stayed with it. He beat Harry Good. Worthington out of Kinston, North Carolina.
You know, it's from
inside
Kinston?
The final minute.
How about Jerry Stackhouse? Kinston, North Carolina.
So full timeout, and we'll take it with him. Gary Waters still working it hard, still looking for those defensive principles. Back with more in a moment. Well, Rutgers led at the half, 36-14. They did it despite shooting 1 for 12, and hanging a big lead even now. And stay with us, 9:15 Eastern Time. More Owens Corning NIT first-round action. Boston U against Stanford, or some of you will see Eastern Illinois against Boise State. Terriers are the defending America East champions. Here's Piasecki. Like Kareem Wright, went to the Pete Noel Big Man's Camp during the summer. Joel Wiggin. Nice leave inside. Whoa, there's a block from behind by Preston. And Preston called a traveling violation. Called on Adrian Hill. (60-34). Final 15 15.2 seconds here at the rack at Rutgers. It's been all Rutgers over Columbia. And here's Fran Fraschella's Big East franchise.
Well,
first teamers, huh?
Chris Thomas is mad at me in South Bend, but we got 3 senior guards. And Darius Rice coming off the bench could play the 3 and the 4. And I love Sweetney. He can score inside there.
Absolutely.
He's a load. And of course, Emeka Okafor blocked some shots back there along the back line.
Perry Clark said he's going to get Darius Rice, put him in the post, so it makes it tougher to defend him. That's going to be interesting.
Well, he shoots the ball extremely well for a guy his size, but he want to have that versatility of playing inside and out.
Final seconds here for Rutgers. It's the fewest points allowed by Rutgers since January 25th of 1982. And they had a 30-29 loss at St. Bonaventure. That's going to do it. It'll be 7 straight wins for Rutgers over the Columbia Lions. Final score 60-36. Gary Waters opens up this season in good shape. Final score, Rutgers wins it 60-36. For Fran Fraschella, I'm Dave Sims. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now, here's Reese Davis.
Dave, thank you very much. Rutgers moving into the second round. They're going to face North Carolina. Let's talk a little bit about this Scarlet N.I.T. team. And as I mentioned earlier, I know Columbia was overmatched, but anytime you hold a team to 36 points, you have to put an emphasis on defense.
Defense, because they had the experience. You look at Coleman and Shields. I think that's what's important. And I think the fact that they play in the Big East West with the Georgetowns, the Syracuse, the Notre Dames, as well as Pittsburgh, that gets these kids programmed to this type of defense that they're trying to get going with Gary Williams. But the fact is this, their experience factor now, can they go down to Carolina, keep that defensive intensity up against that North Carolina freshman group, which is very good.
They have been impressive so far, and you're going to see that North Carolina freshman group in just a few moments. Right now, let's take a look at the bracket. Now it's shaping up for the Owens Corner.